Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we're anything but straight. My name is Space.
I'm Ruby.
And my name is Bix.
And we welcome you to our episode, which is about what today?
Fangasms. Spring 2025.
That's
And
right,
we got
baby.
a lot of them.
We've got
this.
we've got a shitload of them.
Yep. We have somewhere between a lot and a shitload to get through. So.
Keep in mind, folks, this is the second attempt we did this. So
Take two.
The first time took us an hour and a half to get through 4 emails.
But to be fair, we did sidetrack a crap load.
Y'all sidetracked? Oh my God.
What a shock.
It's unheard of.
I know. But it happens.
Silence.
But it happens. So we've got a lot of emails to go through. We've got a few repeats. Repeats meaning they've sent one.
Sent more than one.
Yeah, they've sent more than one. For the most part, if you hear us refer to someone as Furry X, it's because we're protecting their identity. We don't want to read their email, like their actual email or their name that they use in there, because we can't verify if it's actually their real name or something else. So we'll refer to them as Furry X. I think you said somebody
signed their email Furry X.
Which that works.
Hey,
Sweet.
saves us time.
Yeah. So we got lots of fun ones in here, lots of questions. So we'll get to those. But I think without further ado,
I think we should just jump right in.
Yep.
I think we should just jump right in. Yeah. So our first email comes from someone by the name of Dre, not Dr. Dre, although that would be kind of cool if that was the case.
I think it's spelled differently, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they had spelled it DRE, I've been like, oh, shoot, son. But
isn't there
damn.
Okay, Dr. Dre's a rapper, right? Or am I just stupid? Okay.
Yeah, Beats by Dre, his headphone
yeah. Who's the rapper whose daughter's a furry?
I know one of the Insane Clown Posse's kids is one.
No, it was something else. Like, it's this rapper. He has this one daughter. Pretty sure it's his only daughter. She got a fursuit, and then he got a fursuit and did a dance with her on TikTok.
Kevin Gates?
Was it? I don't remember.
And his daughter Jade put on furry costumes.
Maybe.
Well, if any of you guys know who it is, then let us know. Yeah, so there you go. A little.
Oh, it was Kevin Gates. Yep.
Oh, okay. I don't even know. I've never even heard of Kevin Gates.
I hadn't either, but I remember seeing the comments on it, and it was just really wholesome.
That's cool. Good for him. I mean, no one's gonna mess with a rapper, so
right.
Yeah.
A lot of people were praising him for supporting his daughter, and honestly, I stand with that. Anyways, let's get back to the email. I'm sorry about that.
And this is what happens.
Yep.
So it says, hello, my name is Dre. I'm a big fan of your podcast. I listen to it every night after school. I had a quick question. I'm planning on making a partial fursuit and was wondering if you had any tips, more specifically Bean. Again, I'm a huge fan of both of you. Of you both, and I love your podcast. I just need tips for my first fursuit. Just some general tips and tricks. Thanks for your time, Dre. So I did actually reach out to Sparrow about this, and I did get a response. I just have to find it. So she says, absolutely. The best advice I can give is to utilize as many online resources as you can. YouTube is full of free tutorials. Etsy has lots of patterns and paws and tails. Using them will make creating your first fursuit a much smoother response. Also, everything has an ugly stage, even when the pros do it. So don't give up if yours looks rough. Just keep going and maybe sleep on it if you're really struggling with self-esteem regarding on how it looks. So there you go. That's pretty simple.
I was going to say, just to add to that, they were saying that everything goes to an ugly stage. I had a teacher who
is ugly.
Really reinforced in me that fail. You've never failed. Fail just stands for your first attempt in learning. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, especially when creating something like a fursuit or art. You're not failing, you're just learning.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the key to success is to fail, because you can't learn unless you fail.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
yeah, if you get it perfect the first time, you have nowhere to go. So
I suppose, and there's those who somehow never fail, but I'm pretty sure there's a fail. So
oh no, there's entire folders of photos that never see the light of day.
Exactly.
As far as I know, every fursuit maker has a fursuit head that no one has ever seen. No one will ever see.
Sparrow has showed me one of those photos. I have never seen it ever since.
Yes.
So it's like one of those rare occasions.
Yes.
She got ugly suits that she keeps in the closet.
Yep. Do not compare yourself to the masters that do not show their bad work. Do not compare yourself to the people that have the perfect persona online showing the pictures, because they have screwed up more than anybody. They had to get there somehow.
Well, thank you, Dre, for sending us that email. Let's move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's me, correct? I think I'm going to modify this first sentence. Hello, my name is Aaron. It's their Sona name. They did this whole thing where they give their real name, but I'm just using their Sona name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
confusing.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah. Hello, my name is Aaron. I have newly stumbled upon this podcast and, of course, thought it could answer questions for a relatively new furry. First, fursuits. I heard that they have to be handmade. Is there any reliable source for materials?
Well, I mean, everything's handmade.
I'm going to say answer them as I go so we don't have to backtrack. First, they don't have to be handmade. There have been people that show up in costume fursuits, the Walmart wolf heads. If you're having fun, screw everybody else that says otherwise.
Exactly.
As for reliable source for materials, I would have said like Joanne's, but they're gone as of today. So
ironically, I was looking for some materials at Michael's on my Michael's app, and a little advertisement swipes over and it says, sad that Joanne's got out of business, come to us. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, Michael's. Whoa.
Yeah. If it's your first fursuit, don't worry about the materials. In fact, try to find the cheapest stuff you can find, because as we stated previously, you're gonna screw up. So
hell, you can make a fursuit out of toilet paper. If you can, I'd love to see it.
Yes, our
honestly,
cardboard.
that would be really
just
cool.
Don't sweat in it.
Because those, have you guys seen those cardboard fursuits?
Yeah, I have. I've seen a couple of them.
Suits. There's this person on Instagram and TikTok who makes these really intricate paper suits, and they're so
Elliot.
cool.
Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
It's Elliot something, but their fursuit heads are super bright, and they do like paws and feet. Yeah. I really want to interview them.
It is Elliot stuff. But yeah, like this underage. one on their pinned is just so bright and vibrant. Like I don't even. It's gorgeous.
It's so cool. So a traditional fursuit doesn't have to be made out of like fake fur. It can be made out of whatever you want to make it out of.
Yeah,
I've seen tons of varieties.
Yeah, if you go and find a way that you can purchase something pre-made, or just go to Walmart and find a $10 wolf head or cat head or whatever the hell they're going to put out for Halloween this year, it's just as acceptable as anything else, no matter what anybody else says.
Yeah.
And take it from, I think, what could be defined as a gray muzzle. Second, antes. Is there a way to get them off your back? Because sometimes they can be a right pain in the rear. Sometimes, I guess, reposters, counter arguments, straight leaving them doesn't work. Honestly, coming from someone who has taken hate for being trans, the simple block and move on.
Yeah.
You could try to fight them, but you're dealing with a hater and their vacuum chamber full of followers and a metric ton of sock puppet accounts that's just repeating what they're saying. You're never going to win. You're just going to burn yourself out, block and move on.
I think the only viable way that you could win in an argument is if you yourself had your own army of SJWs, aka social justice warriors.
But even then, you're just going to, if one person says something wrong, you just gave them more ammo. It's not worth it. So yeah, that's my tip. It's how I've handled things. And it's made for a very, very quiet social media existence. Third and lastly, after all this time, my parents haven't found out, even though they see the proof every once in a while, exclusively anthropomorphic animal characters, certain games I play, certain jokes I make, etc. Not sure what the question is, but yeah, I'm 38 years old. I've been a furry since I was like 16. My mother still doesn't know. So my mother doesn't know I'm a furry, a witch, a Therian, any of that. So they don't have to know, honestly.
I think if you take that last one at face value and try to spin it into a question, it could be, my parents haven't found out yet. What if they do?
Ash Coyote's fandom documentary.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That or Moms of Furries make some pretty good videos.
Oh yeah, yes. They're really good too. I think I've ran into them once at a convention, and then I've also chatted with them a few times on Twitter. They're really nice.
And then Anthrocon's What is a Furry page, I believe, also might work.
For Media that's our old live stream service. We have a couple of videos about parents of furries, and it was actually interviewing a real parent. So if you want to refer to them with that, but that's a really old one. So if you want more current information, I think Moms of Furries would probably be the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. If that's too much to ask in one episode, sorry, but if you can answer any of these questions, I would appreciate it. Wasn't too much, Aaron? We got you.
Can I? Sorry, I just want to. I want to interject one last thing.
Go for it.
If you ever feel like you want to tell your parents, do not, quote unquote, come out as a furry. Furry is a hobby. It is not a sexual identity. And saying that you're coming out as a furry is kind of like cliche and unnecessary. And it just makes the situation worse than it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a lot of furries talk about it, and I personally agree because I came out as a furry to my parents, and looking back, I cringe at it. It was so bad. Yeah. It's not necessary, and I think things usually go a lot smoother for people when they kind of cut out that already kind of stigmatized part of the equation, not just in the furry fandom, but just in general.
If you present being a furry as if you were coming out as a furry to your parents or to friends, and you give any bit of slight of hesitation, you're already giving them a reason to doubt what you're about to say. Mm-hmm. So don't. Just say, yeah, I'm a furry. It's what it is.
It's a cool hobby. I enjoy the art.
I also like cosplaying. There you go. And you could easily sidestep the conversation somewhere else. And so you don't have to necessarily...
Just like actually, because you said the word cosplay, you never come out as a cosplayer.
Yeah.
It's literally that. I finally just put those two pieces together. But yeah, you don't go, Mom, Dad, I'm a cosplayer.
I'm a sexy Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mom, Dad, I'm a podcast host.
Well, that's different.
Oh, man.
I identify as a Pikachu. They're neither gay, straight, or bisexual. And you just about I could see someone doing that.
Yeah.
I'd say somebody already has like chances of that having already happened.
We saw this one really quick post. I was sharing Instagram videos because we watch YouTube videos at night, and sometimes I'll save a couple of videos from Instagram to watch. And this one chick, she comes out as like 10 different orientations, and I'm like, girl, that's too many. Just pick like maybe one or two and call it good. Yeah. It's unnecessary to have that many.
Okay, so thank you, Aaron, for your email, and I think we're going to the next one.
Yes, so this is our first Furry X.
Dun, dun, dun. I won't do that every time, I promise.
Hey, everyone on your guys' team who is reading this. I was wondering if you guys could try and get Z the Raccoon on the show. She's my favorite furry YouTuber, and I think it'd be cool to hear her voice on your amazing podcast. By the way, I only started like last month, and I'm already almost done with your podcast, if that tells you anything. Anyways, gotta go. Bye.
So I think we calculated that time because it was within February. So February, March, April, May. In 4 months, they've already listened to, or almost listened to, 134 episodes.
No, because you remember that they started in January. I only started last month, and then they sent this in February.
So in 6 months, they've listened to 142 episodes.
In 1 month. In 1 month, they almost listened to the entire podcast.
134 times, we'll just say the average podcast episode is 1.5. That's 201 hours. That's if all the episodes were an hour and a half, which is never the case. Ever.
Yeah, because I'm on some of them.
Yeah. So it's rare that we ever get an episode that's under an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, rare.
Oh, no. I still remember the episode where you and Sparrow were like, yeah, we're going to start trying to keep him down to 45 minutes. And the very next episode was 2 hours long.
That's right. I do remember that.
We tried.
How the fuck is that going?
What episode was it?
It was way back then.
No, because I remember we did that. Was it the...
So the idea behind that, I was looking at the stats, and the stats showed that after a certain amount of time, the view or listening dropped at a specific amount of time period. So I'm like, okay, what if we shorten it? We could keep their attention for a longer period of time, but in a short distance. And so I thought, okay, let's try to do 45-minute episodes. We tried one. It sucked because we couldn't get all the information that we needed into a 45-minute episode.
No.
So we just said, fuck it. we went back to whatever time it takes. So yeah, that was fun. We constantly are making changes to our podcast in like real time, whereas other podcasts will like plan out their episodes for the whole year, have everything scheduled and ready to go. But we make changes throughout the year on a weekly basis so that we can accommodate.
On a daily basis. What are you talking about?
This season alone, we've already had to do 2 re-records that I know of.
Yeah, well, okay, but there's reasons for that. But
yes, I know, but still.
Sometimes we have to accommodate the host. Sometimes we have to accommodate the time. Sometimes we have to accommodate the passion. The passion is what I call like when I'm recording an episode and I just don't feel it. That's when I kind of decide we need to re-record so that we can redo this again. So you guys get the episodes. That's all that really matters.
Yep.
And we're not getting paid for this, so don't complain.
Soon you all shall hear our struggles.
One day.
Yeah.
All right. So our next email comes from Elegy the Bobcat. Now they sent 2 emails. So I'm going to read this first email and then the next one will be an email that they had sent like a couple months after that. I do feel bad. For the second one, I'll explain why in a minute. But the first email is hi, my name is LG the Bobcat. I'm a 17-year-old furry who's been in the fandom for a little over a month. I discovered the furry fandom when I followed my fetish for the V word down the rabbit hole to the furry fandom.
Oh yeah,
exposed to a
I forgot about this one.
Which somehow triggered an interest in anthropomorphic animals in me, which is funny since I had no such interest in discovering the furry art before.
I remember this email now.
So I kind of want to know what vor they were looking at that got them into the furry stuff. Because that's
this was.
I always thought vor was just exclusively furry.
That's what I thought. No, when we read this email during the last take, that was my realization that there is normie vor.
Yeah.
And it was the strangest thing to like discover.
To think about.
It's so weird because I thought it was like kind of a furry exclusive thing. Nope.
You've shorted me out, and that's hard to do.
Like, okay, I straight up, like last time we tried this, I straight up searched for Star Wars vor, and it just came up with a bunch of like looked like overly pregnant Jedis, but they were actually like a Jedi that had eaten like another Jedi. I was just like, what the hell?
So, okay, now that I think about it, like I vaguely remember seeing some kind of like portal vor where Shell ate Wheatley or something like that. I vaguely remember this, or it's just I could very much see that being a thing in the Portal fandom.
It makes
because
me
I've seen
wonder,
worse from the Portal fandom.
It makes me wonder what we consider as furry core, if there's actual outside normal core to it as well that we just haven't really thought about.
So it's so weird to me. Anyways, we should probably finish reading this.
So
yeah.
Anywho, I love your podcast and listening to it has become pretty much a regular part of my day. I listen to it while driving, biking, working, and chilling. I really love the dynamic and how you guys interact with each other. I have a few questions if you don't mind. Hold on. Damn it, I thought I was going to burp. Okay, never mind. First one, which members of the podcast are transgender and what gender do they identify as? I know there are a few trans people on the podcast and I'm having trouble remembering which ones they are and if they identify with the gender that they came across as. Like I know Paradox used to sound like a girl, but now sounds like a guy. So did they have surgery or something? What do they identify as? And who are the other trans people on the podcast and what gender do they identify as? I only ask to prevent confusion for when listening to the podcast in the future. Ruby, you have the floor.
Okay. Well, actually, let me go ahead and cover just with, yes, Paradox is trans, female to male. Luckily, Paradox has that advantage of taking testosterone deepens your voice.
Yeah. Except for mine.
Space, you don't sound like a guy or a girl. You just sound gay.
Damn it. Thank you.
I couldn't. My filter is shot. If that's y'all didn't even hear the first one I did before recording.
The only time I ever sound straight or like a man is when I'm really sick and hoarse, and then my voice drops like super low, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that made me think
Yes.
of something that I'm going to send you, Space. I'm going to
Please
send
do.
you something.
Yes. So yes, Paradox is trans female to male. I am trans male to female. I actually think my voice sounds slightly more feminine on mic, but kind of if I don't think about it, I'll sometimes go deeper. I don't have the advantage. Trans male to females voices don't change with hormones. It's a pain in the ass. But yeah, I try to think of everybody else's. I only know me and Paradox.
Yeah, you and Paradox are the only ones. So we have one that's male to female, and we have Ruby, you're male to female, and Paradox is female to male. There we go.
Yes.
FTM and FTF.
Wait, isn't Sparrow?
No, Sparrow is lesbian.
I thought Sparrow was non-binary.
You know, her fursona and identity changes so much, I can't keep track.
Okay. Because no, Space, lesbian isn't transgender. I'm a lesbian.
Okay, well, I don't know what she identifies as.
Okay. I thought it was, but that's just me. Me. So yeah, that's the two of us, and we're trading everything. Yeah, that's about it.
So the second one, have considered interviewing some of the popular influencers of the furry fandom. I'm aware of the interviews with Mike Coyote and Telephone, but I thought it'd be cool to listen to an interview with Beta Ada Delata. Or Delota. Sorry, I just wanted to make it sound cool. Beta Ada Delota. There you go. Majira Strawberry, Nightsea, or the odds one out. Okay, maybe not that last one. That's literally what they put in parentheses. We can definitely reach out to a few of these. Nightsea would be a really cool one. I follow them on YouTube. I love their stuff. What's the other one? He does a lot of interviews in fursuit. It's kind of got like a pink purpley-ish pattern fursuit. I think it's a cat.
Ask for the kitty?
Yeah.
Yes.
He'd be really cool to get.
I'm putting all of these people on a list. On a good list. A list of people to interview. Potentially.
Bix has lots of connections, so it's nice to have him on our team, because if we have someone that we need to reach out to and he just so happens to know them, it makes it easier for us to get our foot in the door to get them on an interview, as opposed to traditionally knocking on the door or sending an email that may or may not ever make it to them.
Have somebody you want to interview? I will find them.
The funny part is Odd Ones Out is actually a Magic player.
Really?
Yes.
Who is also coincidentally a closet furry too?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about this, but he has 2 fursuits. I've been at a small meet where one of his fursuits was being worn, and coincidentally, that person never took off their suit. I think it was him. Because we were on the Arizona border, which doesn't he live in Arizona? I know he lives in Arizona.
I have no idea. I just know that I recognized him from
he lives in Arizona.
A Magic gameplay stream.
Let's see. Where does Onward Out live? He lives in California.
Oh, well, it's still close enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's still hot and dry. So we'll definitely put those on the list and reach out to them.
He did live in Arizona.
So he lived there. Yeah.
And now lives in California. I don't know. Anyways, let us keep going.
The third and last one is, do you have any tips for me as a beginner artist? I've been using 3D software, specifically Blender, for about 2 years now and just got into designing characters, but just started drawing. I guess I'm wondering what kind of approaches would be the best for improving art and then getting started with sharing it with the rest of the fandom, and also how to get started doing commissions. So you both do art.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Well, I do, but I don't.
This kind of would fall into the same thing as we said with the fursuits. You're going to have some ugly ones. Keep trying. And that's literally my advice.
As for improving, I'd say same thing that also was said with the fursuits. Use the online resources that are available, but also the not online resources. Go to your local library, check out books on anatomy. There are some pretty good books about drawing furries. I think you can find them online in like a PDF format, but it's like how to draw furries.
Yeah. You can pick those books like up anywhere, literally.
They taught me how to kind of get my body and skeletal style down for like bodies and heads, but it's Draw Furries by Jared Hodges and Lindsay Sebos. And then they also have another one called Draw More Furries, which kind of just goes more into depth. They have a third one I'm trying to remember.
Another thing to really keep in mind, too, is to always practice every day, even if it's just a sketch of something. By doing it every day, you improve just a little bit more, and then you kind of get into the cycle of doing it and getting used to it. And over time, your art will improve. It may not improve overnight in the sense of, okay, next day he's going to be like, I'm going to be a professional artist. No, it'll take weeks, months, years. I've seen my husband go from okay to way better. And I idolize his art. I think it's amazing, even though he doesn't think so. But he takes lots of courses. He does like lots of online courses, not like school courses, kind of like 30 to 45-minute courses. Sometimes he goes and does like one of those modeling classes where you draw the model. He watches a lot of YouTube videos. Another thing you can consider is that coming up in July is Art Fight. And that is another great way to kind of hone your skills a little bit.
It's an amazing thing. I personally developed a lot of my style doing Art Fight. Like if you look at the art I did when I started Art Fight, I actually have Art Fight bookmarked in my browser. But
Dear Dog's already started preparing for it, and we're not even in June yet.
I need to get better. The last couple of years I've just been super like burnt out with college, and so I haven't been drawing, but I still think my art's pretty good. But it took me 9 years to get there. I've been drawing for 9 years, and I'm still learning.
I think as an artist, you'll always be learning. I don't think an artist ever reaches a capping point because there's always more that can be done.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what? I just opened Art Fight for the first time in forever, and I just realized that I have even more art that somebody made, and I just never saw it.
Oh, sad.
I'm trying to find for you guys the first Art Fight attack and my most recent Art Fight attack.
While you do that, I'm going to finish reading the email real quick and then move on to their second one. Thank you for reading this. As I said, I love your podcast and look forward to more episodes coming out in the future. Also, I am a straight guy. Oh, I hope that emailing you guys doesn't conflict with your motto. It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
All are welcome here. This is a safe space for all.
Yes.
Contrary to what many might say, we love everybody here. We want you all here.
So, as I mentioned before, LG did send a second email a couple months later. So, I'm going to read that one real quick. It says, I'm just going to skip that first sentence. It's just out of...
Why are we skipping it? Hold on, I got to...
Do you want me to read it? Okay, I'll read it. Before you read it, you may or may not remember I actually sent an email to you guys in late January or February. If you're going to choose one email that I send you to read during the next Fangasms, choose this one. Well, too bad.
They sent this one in April.
Hello, host of Straight for the Muzzle. I'm LG the Bobcat. I've been listening to your podcast for a few months now. I listen during car rides, bike rides, walks, and just chilling at home. I find your podcast incredibly enjoyable as well as informative, and I've learned many things about the fandom by listening to your episodes. My story of how I got in the fandom started when I was really young, and I always had an interest in people being eaten. What?
More!
What? Was that the first? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I have an interest in people being om-nom-nommed.
Okay. It makes so much more sense now.
All right. Really quick. I just want to say we are not kink shaming you or anybody else.
No.
Like, we all have our things. We all have our weird niche things.
Yeah.
It's just really funny to be reading these, especially from a 17-year-old. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I got to say, man, you got an active mind and imagination. Kudos. It all makes sense now. Eventually, it leads me to discovering Vor, which leads me to discovering furries. Unfortunately, because of how I discovered furries, I thought that being furry was purely a sexual thing for a really long time. It wasn't until this year in January that I discovered what a furry really is. And I was like, hey, that fits me perfectly. So here I am, obsessed with all things furry and already have my own persona. I attached an image of him. His name is LG and he is a bobcat. I'm a massive appreciator for art. I'm also getting into 3D drawing and modeling myself. I drew the picture of LG, and my absolute favorite genre of art is art that feels surreal, ethereal, and cinematic, which I've tried to convey through LG's design. I didn't know how to convey those ideas alone through his design, so instead I picked something that already had those characteristics, and I tried to convey that through LG. I ended up picking a sunset, since they are surreal, ethereal, and cinematic, and are made up of two of my favorite colors, orange and yellow. The gradient on his underbelly and his face is meant to be a representation of a sunset. The darker bits on his body are meant to simply be representative of the darkness and the idea of darkness, not wickedness or malevolent or anything, just carries connotations of quietness and solitude, which I feel like associate with me. You may not notice that all the yellow stripes on his body are horizontal. This is because the word horizontal is derivative from the word horizon, which associated with sunsets, further contributing to the character's definition. Anyway, that will be it for this email. I hope you like LG, and I can't wait to hear your response, whether that be in a Fangasms episode or just a reply. P.S. I heard you say in the past that people who are 17 years old and under have poor writing. Well, for the record, I am 17, and I think I wrote a pretty sophisticated email. PPS, I hope that reading a straight person's email doesn't conflict with your motto. Again, they said that.
Still doesn't.
Still doesn't. Okay. A few things to dissect. That is, most people who create, I'm going to say just on a general majority of the scale, most people that create their fursonas pick colors and stuff, but that's about it. They're usually colors that they like or they think look cool. Then there is a small percentage, but just because it's a small percentage doesn't mean that it's a big base. It could be a big base. Actually put thought into why this character looks this color. And then a few others, such as yourself, really go into the depth of the meaning behind the words and the looks. So that is impressive upon
and then
my
some people
end.
go really, really into it, as we will see later on.
So that is pretty, I gotta say, that's pretty legit. I mean, as I was reading that, I'm like, holy shit, like this person really put like thought into thought into thought and then had an underthought to all of those as to why it all ties in together. I mean, that's cool. That's for just the colors and everything. And I can't imagine if you were to write a backstory to the character, what the actual character's story would be, because I would imagine you would put so much thought into that itself as well. That would be really interesting if you wrote us an email back with that, and we would totally read it on the next Fangasms, which would be a summer edition. So like September, October, July.
I do agree. They have written a pretty sophisticated email.
Yeah. So
Good
kudos.
job. Kudos
Thanks
to
for
you.
sending us in. All right. Who's got the next one?
I do. This is, hold on, I got to scroll down from a lot of photos.
Okay, hold on. I had to combine three names.
I was going to explain that.
Okay, good.
I got you, dear. I got you, dearie. This next email, and we pulled from the 3 fursonas that they posted with the email. Silver, it was 3 fursonas, Silver Rig, Katamisu. So I'm going to start reading. I scroll back up to the top. Yeah. What the hell?
They're protos.
No. For some reason, it's... Okay, there we go. I was trying to get the text lined up since the photos are taking over. Hello, straight from the muzzle. SFTM. This email comes in 2 parts.
I'm sorry. You struggled on. I'm so sorry. I just like that you're like SFTM.
Yeah, that's what they put. It's hello SFTM.
Oh,
so it's like
okay.
I'm trying to say straight from the muzzle, and I was like, my brain was looking at the acronym and was like, hello, straight from the muzzle. This email comes in 2 parts, one about VR and one about me, my personas. Let me begin with VR, which I have 2 people you could interview, which I don't recognize. I'm not a VR person. Whiskey Dingo and Mr. Bubbles with a Z. They both live streams, so you could possibly ask them on Twitch. I do not recognize those 2.
I know both of them.
I know one of them.
Well, I don't know them personally, but I know how to get in contact with them.
Yes.
I've seen Whiskey Dingo's fursuit at conventions, but I've never known who the person was other than the name of their fursuit.
And now on to the second part of the email, my fursonas. Well, not me talking about them, though. Let me show you. So they sent 3 photos. 2 are protogens, and they're adorbs. One is Silver, which is a blue protogen. And y'all can look at the photo, too, if you click on it.
Yeah.
They're just cute. Actually, the drawings are really good. And then Rig, which I really like, because I love the red. I absolutely love the red.
The red's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I also love how they're spelling the font out for them. This is coming from a graphic designer. Rig's, like the way Rig is spelled out is really, really cool.
It really is.
And then I don't want to speculate because it doesn't have a species on it, but it looks like an Umbreon.
It looks like a cat designed like an Umbreon.
Yeah. Like from where I was originally looking at it, looked like an Umbreon, but no, it is a kitty.
I'm seeing Umbreon now, but I don't think I was gonna say I was thinking cat.
It's missing some marks to be an Umbreon. But it's still cute. Don't get me wrong. It's black and yellow. I'm going to love it anyway. So yeah, those are really, really pretty.
Katamisu.
Katemisu, and he, they. And that's the end of that email, actually. So
very nice.
That's why I've been scrolling, trying to find if there was more text, but I cannot find any. If there is more to this email, please let us know, because I'm only seeing that first little bit. But yeah, that was that one.
It's my turn now.
Yes, it is.
Space. It's him.
Who?
It's Ash. All right, I'm going to start reading. Actually, no, really quick. So just for context, last year, Spring Fangasms 2024, we got an email from Ash. And I think we spent quite a bit of time discussing some things on that email. But we had a lot of fun with that email in particular. And 1 year later, here is another email from the same person. And I am so excited to read this because there's a lot of great depth to this. So,
yeah.
Hey, Space and Gang, it's me, Ash, emailing you again. It's a year later, but I'm still amazed that you guys read my email on the Spring 2024 Fangasms, which is Season 10, Episode 7. I'm finally all caught up, and now currently listening to your latest Fangasms episode, Season 11, Episode 2. You guys are amazing, and I love the weird episodes you upload, especially the cheese one, Season 10, Episode 19. I'm so happy that they're referencing all of these,
It's so nice.
If they just said the cheese one, I'm like, which one was that?
But
no, Season 10, Episode 19.
Which one?
I just wanted to drop by and give you some updates. First of all, I have another persona, bringing my total to 4. Their name is Splaint. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And their pronouns are they, them. It's a weird name, but that's because it is a combination of 2 names, Paint and Split.
Oh.
This is because a person named Paint became the host of a demon named Split. Splaint is an artist, but their style has changed. Before they shared their body, Paint's style was more bright and colorful, but now is more menacing and twisted because of Split. Splaint has also gotten quieter because Paint and Splaint are having conversations in their head. Another thing about Splaint that is cool is that they are ambidextrous, meaning they can use both their hands equally well. I used to be ambidextrous, and then I started drawing.
I was going to say, they're describing me because I'm very quiet, have conversations in my head. I'm an artist, and I am ambidextrous. So this is cool.
It is because It is because Paint is left-handed and Split is right-handed. I still don't know their species because they aren't quite finished. I'm still figuring things out, though they do represent my chaotic and artistic side. Here's the fun backstory that we're going to enjoy reading very much.
This is epic.
It really is.
I just want to say.
The next thing I want to talk about is the world all my fursonas live in. It takes place on Earth, but these anthropomorphic animals, who's going to be editing this episode?
It's going to be Rim.
Rim, I am begging you, please put some kind of dramatic music behind this, please.
Oh, that would be great.
Introducing the world of anthrites.
Dun, 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 dun.
It takes place on Earth, but these anthropomorphic animals came to be during World War III, though in the world, they mainly refer to it as the Anthropomorphic War, or Anthro War for short. At the time, everyone knew the capabilities of AI and wanted to stay clear away from it, though it would be nice to have disposable units for times of war. So thinking outside of the box, one country came up with an idea. They would create human-like animal slaves that would fight the war for them. These creatures would soon be known as anthrites. Though they couldn't treat them like slaves, they didn't want their military revolting against them. So they made a whole facade, making it seem like anthrites had been living for thousands of years. They also gave them orders as if the humans were also anthrites as well. This went on for a long time, but some figured it out, eventually leading to the end of the war. After the war, they didn't want to kill all these creatures who have families, lives, and feelings, so they let them intermingle amongst all the humans. Though of course many did not agree with this. Every so often a fight between a human and an anthrite would break out, but it has become very rare recently. The end.
That's a lot.
That was a roller coaster. That was an amazing roller coaster to read. I am so happy you shared this. Thank you.
That's awesome.
And then as their email continues, I wanted to share this because some people shared the backstories of their personas on a few of the Fangasms, and I just wanted to tag along. I also love the new host, especially Ruby. She is my favorite. Hi, Ruby. We're so happy to have you here. It's great to see some of my interests talked about on the podcast. I used to be on the tech crew for my school plays. Hey, me too. I was master electrician. We loved doing that. I also like to play Magic the Gathering. I also want
automatically love you.
I also want to start playing D&D or Dungeons and Dragons as well. I'm a longtime D&D player. I highly recommend it.
I just found out about a D&D thing. It's like using cats and dogs, and I have the beginner set. I really need to get into it.
I have never heard this, but I would love it if you would send me
I'll
links.
get you a link in just a second.
Please do. It's great. Oh, wait, I already read that. I just haven't had the chance to play D&D. If you have any advice on learning how to play D&D, it would be amazing.
Lots of thought and
your DM should have extra dice for you to play, but if they don't, you are going to need your own dice. You can look some up online. There, Google has literally, if you just look up like 8-sided die on Google, it will give you a die, and then you can swap out how many sides it has on Google. But dice are important. I highly recommend getting the player's handbook, though it's not necessary. And other than that, it really is just, there's not really much learning involved. I mean, I guess it depends on how deep you want to get into it. But usually my sessions, we are just fucking around. For my closing remarks, I just wanted to say you guys are amazing and a great inspiration to me. You are my role models, along with Brandon Sanderson. I also typed this in Google Docs, so it's easier for you guys to read. I know your pain. I can't read anything that has poor grammar. I hope you guys have a great day. P.S. I can't wait for the episode on Magic the Gathering to come out. Ruby, do you know when that's coming out?
Currently working on it. You got to get through Pride Month at the moment.
Fair.
So after June.
Yeah.
Sadly, no drawings of my Fursonas. Maybe next time. I'm not going to lie. This whole backstory, I kind of want to draw these Fursonas in this world because it just sounds so interesting to me.
It'd be pretty cool to see.
I'm tempted. I'm very, very tempted.
I expect more emails from Ash. Hopefully soon.
Ash, please send us emails. We would love to hear from you more and more. You're becoming a host favorite. Wait, no, we don't have favorites, but
because if they're all going to feel really bad, they're going to be like, oh, they don't care about me.
No, we love all of you. We love all of you. I just haven't had emails from...
We've had repeat emails from listeners, but we've never had an email from a listener that also just happened to land on the same type of subject in the same category, but on the following year. So it was quite special for us.
Same kind of episode, just a year later. It was, and I got to read it again too because I read it last time. That made me happy.
That was pretty cool.
Anyways, moving on.
So my next email comes from Hi-Fi. Hello, everyone. My name is Hi-Fi, a protogen who knows surprisingly little about technology. That's awesome. I've been listening to your podcast whilst on university placement in a country town. It has been a lovely sharing
lovely sharing my dinners with you all.
Oh, okay. And learning more about the community and a bit about myself. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at reading these emails. I have recently been delving into an area of furry literature produced by the community. I have covered some visual novels and graphic novels, but I wish to explore the genre further. Do you have any suggestions for good pieces that are possibly under the radar that I should check out? I'd like to also suggest the topic idea of photography for fursuiting. Although I'm unsure if you've covered this topic in the past, I was wondering if there were any tips and tricks for approaching suitors at meets or cons and how to turn an image from bland to amazing. It would be great if you could talk about your own experiences or even invite a guest on to speak. Keep up the amazing work. Hi-Fi. So as far as like the literature, you could, well, I don't remember if he does just sex novels. Well, there's a couple of furry artists out there. There's one named Kyle Gold. They're novelists. They're pretty good. And then I can't think of any other ones though.
I have one, but I can't recommend it to anybody under 18. And so I don't want to say it just so our listeners under 18 don't go looking for it.
As far as approaching fursuiters at meets and cons. So usually when you approach a fursuiter, you kind of want to make sure you can grab their attention. You can wave at them so they can kind of see through their tiny little eyes.
Don't actually grab them. Please do not grab them.
Don't grab the tails. Don't grab them from the back. Don't grab them from the side. Don't grab them from the front unless they specifically say it's okay to do so. You got to remember that when you're in a fursuit, and I've been in one a few times, it's very sound dampening. So it's really hard. It kind of blurs out your senses. So you can't see what's behind you. To turn your head, you can, but it's not like turning your head in general. You don't have peripheral vision, so you can't really see your surroundings. So some will have.
Right now, 90% of my vision is gone.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
And
it's why they have.
Yeah.
It's why they call it tunnel vision. Some versions will have handlers which are really nice, and they'll tell you what to do and how to interact. If they don't have a handler, some fursuits have badges that will say, don't hug me, don't take a picture of me, or hugs are okay, but still approach with caution.
Yes. Do what you can to get their attention, kind of make sure you get their consent for a photo. If they have a handler, have the handler get their attention for you or whatnot, but just kind of be mindful that these guys can't tell what's going on around them most of the time. So just be very courteous, very polite, very patient. But yeah.
I have a suggestion for the imaging, for taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So turning an image from bland to amazing, if you've already got the picture and you need to turn it into amazing, you can always adjust the shades or the filters to kind of make it pop. But I find it better to make an image pop by actually making the image itself unique. So when you're taking a picture, typically people will just be like, can I take a picture with you? And that one fursuiter just does one pose and that's it. If you're ever with me and you're strolling around at a con, I don't take pictures like normal people do. I take a picture as if I take a picture as if I'm on the freaking runway and I'm directing the models on how I want them to look. You're like, give me something
does the
fun.
Same thing.
Give me silly. Oh, make it look like you guys are all beating each other up. Things like that. And so giving them a cue makes it a lot easier for them to kind of do something different, and that brings a photo to life, other than just a bland one stance photo.
I do know of a handful of people we could invite on. Personal friends of mine, they live here in Utah, actually, out in West Valley. They do professional photography for fursuiters. They have done pretty much all of my fursuit photos. Very close personal friend. I can ask them if they would want to come on, because their photos are absolutely gorgeous. And when I say professional, I watched them spend like $3,000 on a lens.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
So they very much know what they're doing, and I love their picks. So I can talk to him and see if he'd be willing to come on.
So anyways, thanks Hi-Fi for sending the email, and you have a good one.
Yep.
Moving on.
That will be me, and I have it a double, trying to get the windows lined up. If you see how my monitor looks, it's weird. These are coming from Devil Star Nix. Let's see here. First one. Hello, Space Paradox, Dear Dog Ruby, Bix, and Kira Stote. I've been listening to your podcast for about 3 years now, and I'm still a young fur still trying to figure out their persona. I am a gender fluid ace lesbian who doesn't fit it at school, and know your pain, sweetie, with anyone except my two best friends. Do you have any advice for someone like me who is still figuring things out? Also, I love your podcast. It's already helped me figure out some personal things and some things at home. Thank you for your time, Devil Star Nix. Let's answer this one first.
It makes me tear up a little bit.
Do what?
It said it makes me tear up a little bit.
Yeah. I understand what it's like to be the outcast. I was the art nerd that talked about wolves way too goddamn much. Honestly,
I feel like you and I would have been really good friends in school.
We would have. We would have. I was that one that went between the band nerds, the art nerds, and the theater nerds. I was like that weird meld that I could merge with all three sets, and it was really awesome.
Hey, that was me, except for I was a choir nerd, not a band nerd.
Yeah. This is going to sound cliche, Hallmark after school special. I apologize. But be yourself. The people will come. If you try to act different or do something different to attract friends, they're not going to know the real you, and it's going to be more tiring to keep the act up. Just be yourself, be silly, be out there, and screw the haters. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but screw the haters.
It sounds cliche because it's true.
Yeah, it's cliche because it's true. But yes, that's the best advice I could give. Just be yourself, find your niche, and run with it. The friends will come as they go, hey, this person is really fucking awesome. So they also sent a second one, unless y'all have something to add to the first one.
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Moving to the second one. My brain is, and this was sent 5 minutes apart. seriously. My brain isn't working. I also had a question I wanted to ask you. Do you know anything about furry LGBTQIA plus events or conventions that anyone under the age of 16 can go to? Because I can't drive yet and don't know anything about conventions because my parents have never let me go to one before. Thank you, and sorry again. I guess it's sorry for sending 2 emails. You're cool. It's fine. Devil Star Nix. This is y'all because I haven't been to conventions in a while.
Can answer this
I
one.
was going to say me too.
Do it.
So typically when conventions specify that they're 18 plus and above, they have to follow state laws, and the state law dictates that a type of convention, depending on where it's held or what the subject of it is being held, dictates that they have to have a minimum starting point of 18 and up. And so there's reasons why they do that. There is one convention I know of. It's here in Utah called Anther Week in Utah. They are all ages con, aren't they?
Yes, they're a family-friendly con.
Be prepared to see a lot of skull dog masks.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And feathers. But that is a family-friendly one to go to. It's kind of it's a little overwhelming, but it's kind of refreshing because you get to see younger furs get into it, and you kind of get to see a little bit of like joy because you see so much of what you're already seeing, and then you get to see young people and how they're just now experiencing the fandom. It's really quite a joy.
Mm-hmm.
Fur meets are also usually, some of them are, I would say most of them are usually 16 plus, but each fur meet, depending on who's running the group, may have rules or guidelines such as like a permission form or a slip that has to be filled out. And they're just doing that to protect their butts, not because they hate underage kids. It's just, we have to be careful.
Yes. Also, I just kind of wanted to make the comment because you said furry LGBTQIA plus conventions. I don't know of really very many furry conventions that aren't both.
Yeah, I'd say like majority of them are very.
Yeah.
I think conventions in general tend to be anything that's like Comic-Con or furry or even Baroni. They tend to be LGBTQ.
I feel like if they were to switch that off and not support it, they'd have a huge drop in attendance.
Wasn't there that one con? That. I just remember the ball pit pictures from that con.
Ball pit con.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was sad. That was in Vegas.
It was run by Peace Wolf, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the guest of honor was the furry that I was a huge fan of that now I will not speak their name. So.
As for events, I guess we don't know where you live, but try and look for your local furry community. Here in Utah, we have U2F2, which stands for United Utah Furry Fandom. They are the ones who kind of not necessarily organize all the events, but when somebody wants to organize an event, they go to U2F2 to kind of broadcast it to the larger Utah community. So I'd look for your local community. You can just kind of Google furry community, whatever your location is, and typically be able to find a community near you. So.
And I wouldn't necessarily worry about going to a meet right off the bat. Get to know the people of the group, befriend a few of them.
Yes.
And then if the time presents it and it's okay, then go to a meet and enjoy yourself. All right. Yeah. Thanks for sending those in. Who's next?
It's me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from Pancake. They say, "Hello, Space and Friends. My name is Pancake," just to protect names, and my Sona's name is Pancake. I'm a 20-year-old trans girl that lives in the middle of nowhere, Washington. Oh, Washington is beautiful, though. I've been in the fandom for about 7 years. I'll keep it brief because I know how much you guys love long emails. Truthfully, I do really like long emails. I like hearing about people and being able to answer questions, so don't worry about it. I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the countless hours of entertainment and inspiration. You all have reignited a love for the fandom. Hearing Paradox and Ruby's experience has really helped me accept myself for who I truly am. It's hard because of where I am in the state. On that note, I found your podcast on Spotify. I was looking for something by furries for furries, but I found much more than that. I found a community of amazing people that have helped me open my mind to a lot of new topics. You've driven me to research more about myself. It's hard for me to express my furry side because of how small towns are. Everybody knows everybody, and I don't need that reputation around work. I don't know how well that would go over in a lumber mill. I worked in a lumber yard, so I know what that's like. Although I will say sometimes those rough and tough blue collar workers can surprise you with how accepting they are. Just a couple more things. I promise I'm almost done. My all-time favorite episode that you did was the body positive one, season 5, episode 11. Inspired me to change my Sona to represent myself more instead of being this perfect skinny little thing. She's more on the chunkier side. And it's helped me realize that just because I'm bigger doesn't mean I'm not amazing how I am. I have to say that was also the case for me. That body positivity episode helped me switch Bix from, I think he was like this really buff bitch, to slightly chunkier, not crazy, but he's more on the lean side now. So yeah, I don't know. I plan on going to my first con in 2026 or 2027. And I think it'd be totally awesome if you did an episode on everything you needed to bring for that. Ooh, a con prep episode could be fun.
We've done con prep episodes before, but I would be more than happy to do another one.
I love
doing them.
Especially because cons are always changing, you know?
Yeah.
So another dumb idea that I had was maybe a mini series of all the hosts, spouses, and significant others doing an interview on what it's like living with the hosts. Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, you
did.
About this.
Someone presented this idea already, and
I will tell you right now, and she will shout her agreement because I know my wife. She's on board. She would love to talk shit about me.
I think my partners would probably be on board. I'd have to talk to them about it, but I think they would have a lot of fun with that.
It would. I think one idea you guys had is that instead of us hosting, it would be our spouses hosting.
Yes,
in our place.
Yes. So it would either be Valentine's Day or April
That's
Fools.
right. We talked about that. I remember this now.
I feel like
Autumn is all
April
board for
Fools
it.
would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She has yelled, yes, please. You didn't hear. Yep.
We'd have to develop that, but we could definitely do it.
I think that'd be so much fun.
Are y'all done recording?
No, that was actually a statement in one of the emails.
Oh.
Sorry.
Side note time. I missed Spaced Out. It was fun hearing what was going on in your life. Ruby, I demand you play a game called Spiritfarer. It will make you sob. It's adorable resource management game with Anthro characters.
I already have it pulled up on Steam. It is added to the wish list. Gotcha.
Beautiful. Last thing, pancakes are freaking awesome. I have to agree.
Agree.
Then they sent some pictures of what I'm assuming is their local area. And oh my God, this is gorgeous.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And their Sona,
so beautiful.
Beautiful.
I love orcas. I actually have... It is sitting next to my bed, and it's been there literally my entire life. I got it when I first went to SeaWorld in, I think, like middle school. It is a little tiny orca. I love killer whales. They are like my second favorite animal, and that's only because wolves override everything. I love orcas. So when I saw orca fursuiter, I've just been staring at this reference sheet, just like, oh my God, I love it.
I love how they're hugging a plushy shark.
Blaha!
Blahaj.
They're hugging the Blaha.
No, hold on. No, I gotta go get Blahaj. I gotta go get mine. He's sitting at the
Oh, no.
front of
I
the bed.
actually have a magic deck called Blaha Slap, and it's
Oh,
with
I
one
love
of the
that.
trans characters in Magic the Gathering.
That's so cool, though.
Yes, I love orcas. If it wasn't for wolves, they would be my favorite animal.
So to kind of like at the very end there, I noticed that you had said that you miss having those spaced out episodes, to be honest. So we're kind of, okay, we are officially developing another podcast. We know what the name is. We haven't said what it is.
We even have
yet.
the motto for it.
Yeah. And it's fantastic, but we're not going to say it quite yet because we want to reveal it in summer and kind of take you guys all off guard by it. But it's a podcast that's specifically about bullshit tangenting. So all of the stuff that like
and many topics that would never fill an episode.
No, never. Or stuff that like, for instance, when we record, I generally started recording before we actually record. And sometimes just like 10 to like 20 minutes of just random ass conversations that are really funny, but we never get those into the episodes. Yeah.
And then there's always after the episode as well.
Yeah. And it never gets recorded, or it does, and it never makes it into an episode. And so I think it was Paradox and Ruby's idea to create this podcast where it's just the host. It's unedited. It's raw. So everything will be put into there unless there's a moment where we don't want it to be in there.
Space, don't tell them everything. Don't give it away.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give away the name or the motto.
Yeah, but just let it happen. Let them.
Okay.
Let them
Yeah,
be
come
surprised about
on.
it.
Sorry, I just get really excited. Anyways,
I am excited about it too.
Oh yeah, no,
It'll be so much fun.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
coming to a streaming platform near you soon. So
Yes.
shall be fun. But it's under the Straight from the Muzzle umbrella, so it's still connected. It's just a sub podcast essentially.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. All right, Space. I believe it's your turn.
Yes, I am reading an email from FurryX who signed their name as FurryX.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the one that was signed FurryX.
Yeah. All right. So it says, "Hi, Space and Company. I've been listening to your podcast for about 2 months now, and I absolutely love it. I just recently found the fandom and had a mild hyperfixation on furry for a while now, and your podcast has helped me on my drive to school. I don't really have any suggestions for the podcast, but I wanted to email in and tell you how much I love it. No persona yet, but I'm getting there. Lol. Thanks, you guys, for so much for the entertaining episodes and keep up what you're doing. Sincerely, FurryX." Don't worry about having a persona. You don't have to have, just like how you don't have to have a fursuit to be a furry, you don't have to have a persona to be a furry. That will come in time when you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for sending that email in. And then, all right. So this next one, Ruby, you're reading this one.
I have a feeling you timed it, so I would end up with this one.
Possibly.
Was this the one we discussed about switching, and I think it just worked out that way?
Yeah.
I think so. Even though I would love to do the next one, just because it would be entertaining. But yes, I am doing, this email is from Angora. I'm tired, y'all. Hi, friends. I'm a new listener and new-ish to the fandom. I'm also a teacher who teaches at a school program for trans middle schoolers. A lot of my students are newly identified as furries and therians. Hi, guys. And it's been so wonderful to see how these identities can thrive in an environment that encourages and supports them. I've been teaching them how to make yarn tails. That's adorable. And it's just generally been a place where they can be themselves. It's really sweet. It's also really cool that I get to wear ears to work. Side note, my wife wears cat ears to work almost every freaking day. As expected, a lot of parents just don't get it. There's a lot of misinformation, and I worry about my younger students in the fandom. I was recently listening to your episode on younger, newer furries and heard you mention a resource for parents. I'm not sure if I missed it, but I didn't see a link in the show description. Space. If you could send, if you could send it over, that would be much appreciated. And if you have any other resources related to this, either for parents or for younger furs that I could share, that would be super helpful as well. I'm mainly looking for parent-friendly educational resources on what a furry is and what a therian is, and ideally some advice on supporting their kids and navigating these communities. Mainly hoping to squash the fear that the furry community is a dangerous place for underage folks, and hoping to point these families towards finding some furry communities of their own. Thanks so much, Angora. Of course, we're just going to start with the CSI episode. Don't show that one.
Don't even mention it.
No. I've been mentioning the Ash Coyote one every time, so I just was like, I'm just going to throw the CSI episode in there just to be stupid. But no, don't go to that one. For like, hey, let's send something condensed that's attention spanning, useful to parents. Ash Coyote's The Fandom documentary is amazing. This Is Life with Lisa Ling furry episodes are really amazing. I think both are on YouTube.
Yeah, she did some really good ones. FurScience.
Yes.
FurScience
Moms of Furries.
Moms of Furries, FurScience. I'm sorry, I cannot push FurScience enough because it's such an amazing resource. I think
this podcast, just make sure my name's not on it because I generally do not have a filter.
Yeah, don't. Well,
for the most part,
don't use this podcast.
I mean, for the most part, I can't say that we don't. We do filter some episodes, like the not safe for work ones.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I mean, other than the occasional swear words and the sexual innuendos, other than that, it's an okay source for adult furries.
So I personally would not use this for families trying to learn about their child's hobbies.
Yeah. Well, like the new furries episode wouldn't be. Younger and newer furries probably wouldn't be a bad one. But
like you guys said, like I just typed into Google like parents of furries, and the first thing that popped up was moms of furries, which is mofurries.com. They also have Twitter and a few other social links that you can also find them on. FurScience does have a great explanation as to what a furry is. Anthrocon also has a really good explanation on their website as to what a furry is, and I always usually refer to that as well.
And honestly, to be cheesy and a little corny, I love going into the like cheesy ideas. You being you and wearing the cat ears and being out as a furry and showing the parents that, hey, I'm furry, it's okay. It does help. It actually does wonders.
Every time I hear someone say it's okay, the first thing I think of is George Takei when he says it's okay to be gay.
Well, I mean, it is. But like, as I said, my wife wears cat ears to work every freaking day, almost every day. When I substituted at her school, I wore a tail almost every day. And it was just a normal thing. Like no one acknowledged it because it just was a thing. And seeing it just being normal does help people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't want to.
No, I'm good. That was the end of it. That's done.
All right, let's move on to our next one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think this is perfect.
This is perfect for dog. This email is from Josh Woof. It reads as follows. Bark woof. Bark bark bark. Woof bark bark bark. Bark bark. Woof bark bark. Bark bark bark. Bork bark bark. Woof waff waff. Bark bark woof woof. Bark woof. Josh Woof.
Okay, I just got to cover right now. Have you considered bark, bark, wolf, ruff, ruff, bark, wolf, woof, 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 bork, bark? I mean, really, that's an opinion that we have not covered.
True.
So when I saw this email, I saw this email like several weeks ago, and I was kind of prepping for Fangasms, and I was looking through it, and I saw this one that just said bark, and I'm like, from Joshua, and I'm like, what did he send now? So he sent this email and I'm like, all right. So I sent Joshua a response and I was like, bark, bark. Oh, woo. He's like, oh my God, you got my email. That's awesome. I like that. It breaks up the monotony.
It really does.
All right. On to our next email, which I think is for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the next email comes from Wolfie. It says, hello, Space, Ruby, and Paradox. My name is Wolfie. I'm a huge fan of your podcast. Oh my God. I was going to say, I'm a huge fan of your Paradox.
I'm a huge fan of our Paradox too.
I had a fun question to ask you. As a furry who went to become a content creator, what advice would you give? And they also ask, can I get a shout out in the next episode? Yes. You have been shouted out.
Yes. Hi, Wolfie. I am also Wolfie. Believe it or not. Sorry, go. I just wanted to interject this really quick. They spell Wolfie the same way as me. And funnily enough, Wolfie is what got me into the fandom. When I was in like 4th grade, we had 6 kids in my class with the same name as me. I have like the most common name of 2005. So we all got nicknames, and I at the time really, really liked wolves. And so I got the nickname Wolfie, and that stuck with me. Even now, people in my hometown call me Wolfie still. I have had teachers call me Wolfie for as long as I can remember. So back in middle school, when people were calling me that, I had a couple kids ask me, are you a furry? Like, is that why you're called Wolfie? Is it because you're a furry? And I had no idea what furry was. And so I went online and I made the mistake of Googling what a furry was. And for like 3 months, I denied that I was a furry until I actually started doing more research into it. And then it was like, oh, wait, no, I am a furry. Fuck.
So to kind of answer their question as to advice on becoming a content creator, one thing I always stress, regardless of what kind of content you're creating, whether it's in podcast format, live streaming, art streaming, whatever it is to always be yourself and don't change because your listeners tell you to. Mm-hmm. Too many times have I seen really cool, really good, prominent YouTubers go from something really good and then they look at what their fans say and they change their appearance and how they are based off of what their fans want. And then their content grade goes down and it's shit. I'm not afraid to out this one person just because they're out there already. But I think a good representation would be, let me think if I can get her name here. Give me a second. As far as like appearance goes, because I don't really agree what they look like right now. Give me a second here. It's I can't think of her what her name is. She's like a baker kind of a person. Baker YouTubers. Starts with a P. Or her last name starts with a P. Anyways, I guess I can't think of her name. Whatever. So she started off...
Pancini.
Thank you. Her stuff really started off really well. She still does really good stuff in her videos, but she's dramatically changed. So she went from what I thought was the ideal look for what she was, just being herself, to then getting tons of plastic surgery. And now she looks 30 years older than what she initially looked. So it aged her and it made her look more fake. And I don't like seeing fake content creators. I want to see your original. I want to see you being you, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So don't change yourself.
Also, make content that you like and that you want to see. Because if you're trying to mimic somebody, copy somebody, follow the popular, follow algorithms, yes, but make content you want to make. That way you'll enjoy it and you won't burn out as quickly.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Yes. So before you read it, this is a response to an email that we got or an episode that we had done recently called Fursuit Commissioning. And I literally wasn't expecting this, but this was really cool.
Season 11, episode 5, Commissioning a Fursuit. Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Was that the last one we did or?
It's possible. Let me just take a look.
I was going to say.
This was sent less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So this is right after that episode came out. It's an answer to a question that we posed in the episode. And we asked if anyone knows anything, let us know. And then literally like a couple of days later, that email came through. And I'm like, what? So go for it.
Yep. This is from Zafira. I know it says pronounced it like, yeah. They're from Germany, Zafira. But I am not going to try to do any kind of like other pronunciation. Dear hosts of Straight from the Muzzle, why do I have trouble saying our own fucking podcast name?
Don't worry, I still get the acronym messed up because I still want to say STFM,
which is what I want to say.
Yeah.
How bad every time I go when I have to start saying the new, like the one that we're presenting over the summer?
Okay, well that's iconic.
Yeah, but the motto is a little difficult to say. The only thing I can really think of doing is saying the motto in a poetic way. It's the only way I can do it.
Yeah. And I'm the one that came up with it, so I'm in a lot of trouble. Dear hosts of Straight from the Muzzle, I was just listening to your episode about commissioning a fursuit, season 11, episode 5. You mentioned that if you're interested in fursuiting but not sure if you like it, you can ask a friend who owns one to try it. Here in Germany, we have a club, association, society named...
hold on. I used Google Translate to figure this out earlier. It's... let me find the tab.
Fulton?
It's Freunde auf Speitpfoten. I probably butchered that.
Translated to Friends on Two Paws, that offers rental fursuits. They left a link. I am not affiliated with them, nor have I ever tried their fursuit rental service, but I wanted to point out that such things exist, perhaps also in other countries. I think this can be a great opportunity to take your first step into fursuiting because not only do you get help and instructions on how to properly care for a fursuit, but you also can connect with other fursuiters along the way. Sure, they may not be a perfect fit and may not be the species you're looking for, but based on their website, they do have both realistic and toony styles, as well as partials, full suits, so you can also see which style you're most comfortable in. It does seem to come with a small-ish fee, but considering the cost to even offer this, I think that's more than reasonable. Greetings from a protogen from Germany, Zafira.
So the website's pretty cool. I already have a setting on my Chrome that automatically translates other websites.
They do have an automatic translation, like not just through Chrome.
You can change it to English.
On their website, they have an option to change it to English. It doesn't turn euros into dollars, but I've
already done the calculations for the euros.
Fair.
So it's cool. So you can click on the fursuit. So for instance, the very first one, the name is Leaf. So for short term, it's 25 euros, which is $28 in the US. So just add $3 on top of that. They have a medium term rental, long term rental. They have the fursuit type. They have the maximum weight of the fursuit, maximum size. And then what I would assume is if you wanted to do more into the possibly renting this fursuit, they probably would tell you the actual measurement dimensions. So to see
I think that's what the measurements, like the maximum size that can fit into this fursuit is 174. Is that meters? I don't know. I don't know.
Let me see. Okay, so all right, going with that, the weight is 85 kilograms, which in America we don't use those. We use pounds. I don't know why.
What the fuck is a kilometer?
187 pounds is the maximum for that particular fursuit. So, I mean, by looking at the fursuit, you'd have to be a pretty fit person to be actually fit into that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So it kind of makes me want to look for other companies that are possibly in the US that maybe are just not as known, or even in other countries to kind of do a further research. Because this actually could be a really cool episode if we can figure this out. So
yeah,
it'd be really cool.
And you're from Germany, you know, I've got German heritage, but I've never been to Germany. So, I mean, on Google Earth, I have. I guess it doesn't really count. But that's cool. I think it's cool. I love hearing from other people from around the world. So it's really cool when they tell us where they're from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one is me, correct?
Jess.
What?
Jess.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were saying Jess, like you were saying somebody's name, and I was super confused.
Or Jizz.
Jeez.
Jeez. Is that a question? Anyways.
Okay, so
no, it is a question. The answer is always yes.
Fair.
I'm just thinking of a remark you made before we recorded.
Oh God. Yes.
Anyways, we won't go into that.
Okay, so this email's from Strotoprotogen. They say, "Hey guys, I love your podcast, and I'm a newer fur. I've been one since I was 12, and I'm currently 14. I am just in love with this community, and I'm still trying to figure out how this works and what is and is not okay. One question in general that keeps bugging me is, can I have more than one Sona, or can I just have one? Also, if you guys could help me figure out more of what I can and can't do, that would be great. I'm sorry if I'm rambling a bit. That would be my ADHD to blame. I'm pretty sure all of us here have that. So no worries. Have a good day, Strotoprotogen."
I would just want to call you Stroto the Proto. I think that sounds really cute.
That's what I was saying in my head.
So yeah.
So
6-2-1 rule.
I mean, there really isn't much rules other than maybe look into open, closed species and the rules on that. So that way you don't kind of like accidentally veer into that particular area.
That would really be
other than that, do's and don'ts of creating a fursona does not exist in the furry fandom. The whole point of the furry fandom is to be endlessly creative.
I mean, within reason.
Within some reason with like, the open and closed species. But for the most part.
That and just don't do anything that's not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
There have been a few fursonas out there that were problematic because they had certain symbols and stuff tied to them. So really, those are the only rules. I myself... I'm trying to remember how many characters I have.
Oh my god. What if
I have
in that previous email that we read about
3, 4, 5,
the Vor guy?
I have like 7 personas.
Yeah.
But really I only have 3 that are my mains, and then I just have the rest as like OCs characters. But really it's like I have 3 that I would actually commission fursuits of.
What if you made I'm not saying this for the person. I'm just saying in general to my hosts. What if you made a fursona whose main thing is vor, and every time they eat a different furry, they then grow that furry onto their outer skin?
That is a thing already.
So he's got like all these like random heads just like popping out.
Well,
they've like integrated in.
Not necessarily like that, but like there is art where different, I think it falls under like the goo category.
Oh,
but like where they combine all the characters into one, and so they all share like multiple personalities, but also like artistic features of each individual fursona. So yeah, that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. Yeah, your possibilities are almost endless. Just, I'd say, like Bix said, just anything that's maybe not too controversial or whatever. But other than that, you can create anything you want, really. As far as how many personas you can have, I've met people who have, in my opinion, too many. But
I don't know how to keep track of them.
But
exactly.
they can make more, and that's okay.
There's something called adoptables where you can adopt like from the artist one. And so I definitely went on a spree a couple years ago where I bought like 4 different adoptables. And yes, I've lost all of those arts. So I have no idea where they went. So I have like 4 additional personas out there that I have no idea who they are or where they went, but they're there somewhere. I've thought about creating a rainbow spectrum of spaces. So they're different versions of space, but as different colors or different animals that would represent space.
So different programming upgrades.
Yeah,
Huh?
I guess you could say. Yeah.
I was going to say, Space, if you want to experiment with different colors, but like same designs, just take it into like a photo editor and just change the hue.
I mean, I could, but that's not fun.
Fair.
I want to get some unique stuff. Maybe like it could be different types of bears, but in different spectrums. Like maybe if Space were straight, this is what he would look like, So it would be like a full spectrum of a space.
No,
If Space
I've
were
got to tell you.
straight,
No, I've got to tell you. If you're going to do that one, just make it a blank piece of paper.
If Space were lesbian, he'd have a butch haircut.
yes.
Yes. But I love you, Space, but I cannot imagine a reality where you're straight. I can't.
No, neither can I.
It shorts my brain out trying. And I believe in multiverse theory. I can't. That is a fixed event.
It breaks the laws of the universe.
One time when I worked at Harmon's, this is like way before I started where I'm at now, I had a coworker who came up to me and he's like, look, if there was a pill that could turn you straight, would you take it? And I was like, no. Why? Like, why? Why? And he's like,
what's the
but you'd be
point?
straight. And I'm like, okay, but I like where I'm at now, though. That I don't want to go back. That's kind of weird. I wouldn't be me. I'd be someone else.
Yeah.
So don't take the pill.
Nope.
Well, I guess that depends.
Well, I mean, I take the pill every day, but that's just so that I can be trans.
Yeah. All right. Our last email is from Kip the Fox. Oh my God, we made it to the last email.
I know.
It's
Hello.
lucky because this email came in, I want to say like
5 days ago.
5 days ago.
It was like 20 minutes. No, it wasn't even 20 minutes. It was like 5 minutes after we decided to stop recording our first take. This email came in and we're like, oh my gosh.
It's fate.
We're so happy that we stopped recording. Otherwise, we would have missed this email.
And this person would have had to wait for the next set of emails to come through. So Kip the Fox says, hello, Space, Paradox, Ruby, Deer Dog, Sparrow, Bix, and Kira. My God, we have too many hosts.
It's great. It's great.
We could always have more. So I'm Kip the Fox. I've been listening to your podcast on Spotify for the past half a year or so. And I've just finished up the last episode, which is the fursuit commissioning episode. I just wanted to send in an email and say thank you guys so much for giving me a podcast I can listen to while I'm busy with things. And I absolutely love it. I won't make this email super long, but just a quick idea for a future episode. If you haven't had this idea already, an episode on music artists in the fandom, such as Verplex or Nice. Thanks.
Spelled Niic.
Yeah. Thank you guys again so much for having a wonderful podcast to listen to. And I hope I'll stay listening to it for as long as you guys keep it going. Oh, I've talked with Nice in messages on Twitter a few times. And from what I gather, they're a really nice person.
I was going to say, I would love for them to have like a persona, like them be nice, but their performing persona is a complete asshole.
Like a complete dick.
Yes. That would be funny.
I don't know anything about Verplex. Do you know Verplex, Bix?
I don't know him personally, but going back to my connections, I do know somebody who knows him personally, and I could probably very easily get Verplex on an episode. I say probably. I know somebody who could talk to him. I know how to get the conversation started.
I know a guy.
Verplex, he creates some very amazing music. I have his music saved in my Spotify. I love his music. He makes some good videos on YouTube as well. Overall, he seems like such a sweet person, and I would love to have him on an episode. So I will see what I can do in regards to that, because I know we've talked about an episode on furries and music.
We've had Fox L'Amour and Pepper Coyote both on the same show and separately.
Personally have talked to Pepper Coyote a number of times. I'm in his furry choir. It's been a minute since I performed in it, but
haven't we had
I am in it.
Did we have Ace on here too? Or
yeah, Ace of Hearts Fox is another one.
I love Ace of Hearts Fox.
Another one I'm thinking of, When Snakes Sing, we could probably get on here.
Kira is reaching out to Chester the Giroux, who's an opera singer.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I've listened to his opera music, and I'm just like, damn.
Well,
like,
who's that one who plays the piano in fursuit on like TikTok and Instagram? He's got that really, really cute suit.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, because I've saved them, and Instagram.
It'd be fun to get them on too. So many people, so little time. Just kidding. We have all the time in the world.
Who are they? I literally just saved one of their videos to watch later. Just loading up my list here. Cova Fox, COVAHRFOX. I'll send a screenshot to you guys so you can see it. But this guy, so he's got a cool setup of, generally when you have musical artists like furries who are in fursuit that play, they have really cool paws, but what you don't see is that they have finger slits in the paws so they can play their instruments. But it still looks
fucking incredible.
Yeah, but it still looks like they're actually playing the piano or the violin or the saxophone. It's a really cool setup, and you can wear black gloves with it too, so it kind of blends in. But for the most part, I've always usually seen them. There's a guy in, I want to say it's either China or Japan or South Korea. He plays what looks like the sitar in fursuit as well, and it's amazing sounding. I'm just like, I could watch this furry play all day and never get bored. So that's all the emails we have. We thank everyone for sending them in. I know you've had to wait a while, but that's generally how it works with Fangasms. We like to let them build up. And then once I see a threshold of emails, then I say, okay, it's time to do the next Fangasms. And it's going to be for this edition. And we usually do them in seasons.
I was going to say, don't we usually try and do them like 4 times a year? We spring, summer,
fall, winter.
Yeah. And we usually do them towards the end of that season as well.
Yeah. So we're going into summer now, so we'll wait for the summer, and then
summer Fangasms will probably be like
July, August or September. September will be the next one. So if you do send an email in and you're like, why haven't they responded? It's not that we aren't going to respond. We will in time with a Fangasms email. If you want to get direct contact to us, you can always reach out to us on our Twitter, Blue Sky, and our Telegram group, where you can get more effective, immediate responses.
You can talk to us directly there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I think we have a YouTube page, but it's more of our older stuff. We have things
for now.
For now, we have things in development to reignite that. So
we have plans to start using it more.
Yes.
And get that back up and running.
We have lots of projects that we're working on. So lots of things. I every day wonder, Space, how does your head not explode? So sometimes I'll be working at work and I'll be like, idea. And then I'll go and write it down real quick, and then I'll just go back to work.
Yes.
So lots of emails. Thanks for everyone for reaching out to us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.